Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Blair Miller, the Atlanta News First Newsroom, and it is good to see you here tonight. Hope you're having a great week. I know it's been a busy week with everything going on, but hope you're having a good week as we make it to the middle of the week, and it seems like the end is manageable at this point. A number of breaking stories we are following here in our newsroom tonight, and one of the big ones is something we've been following since Sunday. There's a new health warning out tonight because of the haze and the smell of chlorine. Maybe you've noticed this in the area. You know, I know. And even in Atlanta on Monday, some people were talking about it, but there's some possible concern that this could return to Atlanta tomorrow morning, all because of what happened last week, and that was that chemical plant fire in Conyers. I want to show you some of the video, some actually new video we shot here today from our drone that shows you the situation still happening out there. Plumes of chemicals still in the air right now. This was earlier today, and you can see the chemical smoke looming over Rockdale County. And, you know, again, this started back on Sunday with that chemical plant fire, and it's been an issue ever since. And one of the things investigators have been looking at is how long is it going to be like this? It's been happening over Rockdale County. The haze and chlorine stench expected to spread across the metro and set in during your morning commute, possibly tomorrow. And tonight in Conyers, city leaders are talking about this tonight. There aren't any actual agenda items directly discussing the industrial plant fire, which caused a chemical reaction, and it's also prompted about 17,000 people to evacuate on Sunday. But at the start of this meeting tonight, council members addressed the toxic plume, saying there's a 24-hour operation underway to stop it. The city manager also met with BioLab's vice president. That is the plant where the fire happened then over the weekend. But the city manager told everyone that BioLab will need to answer for the billowing plume that's caused thousands to put their lives on pause. Much of Metro Atlanta, as I mentioned earlier, now being alerted that they will likely smell chlorine and spot haze up in the air tomorrow morning because of the winds that will move west tonight. Now, our Blake Devine is in Rockdale County there now talking with those city leaders. And so we will be hearing more from him tonight during our newscast at 10:11. But he's asking, you know, what are they going to do about this? Or, you know, how are they going to hold the company accountable for this? Because we've been talking with a number of people there on the ground who are very concerned. This is not the first incident that has happened, as we've laid out in some of our newscasts here before. But we'll have much more on this tonight at 10:11. Also, we'll be talking with meteorologist Patrick Pete here in just a few minutes, because asking him about really the weather pattern and how this really could impact what you should expect to maybe see or smell here in the Atlanta area, possibly tomorrow. Another big story is something that's been unfolding in Cobb County today, a major drug bust. A meth lab is what investigators say, and they found hundreds of pounds of drugs uncovered in a really quiet neighborhood. And Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Beinfor looked into this today, and this is what she found, and this is what the DEA showed her.
What's unusual about this situation is this is what we normally find in the jungles of Mexico and not in a neighborhood in Marietta.
500 kilograms of meth. That's what DEA agents found inside this Cobb County home on Tuesday.
Our men, when we went up, we got blown away by the smell. It was clearly, it was so overwhelming. When they approached the house, they knew exactly what we were going to find in there.
According to an arrest warrant, a state trooper pulled Anthony Revelorio over on Tuesday for driving while holding a cell phone. Revelorio had no driver's license, but the warrant states he did have 10 kilograms of crystal meth inside his car. DEA agents then executed a search warrant at his home, finding hundreds of pounds of meth, dangerous chemicals, and an accomplice, Raul Ernesto Morales.
Both had Guatemalan passports and were here solely for the reason of producing methamphetamine for distribution, not only in the metro Atlanta area, but up and down the U.S.
Special agent in charge at the DEA Atlanta Division, Robert Murphy, calls Atlanta a base station for illegal drug manufacturing. He says the feds are aware of several Mexican drug cartels doing business in the metro area, and they're working to shut them down. Last month, we reported on a similar bust after agents found 1 ton of meth hidden in a celery truck.
They all operate here, and because Atlanta's lucrative, so we see them all the time.
And that was our reporter Chelsea Beinfor, who looked into this today. Multiple people now behind bars facing charges for what happened, but a significant drug bust. It comes on the heels of another meth bust that happened just about a month ago, and that was a significant one as well. So we'll be following that story and a number of these stories here tonight in our newscast at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. But let's get back to that, talking about that chlorine cloud that we've been, following in Rockdale County all week long. Again, could be an issue for folks here in Atlanta tomorrow. Let's bring in meteorologist Patrick Pete. I know he's been looking at this along with the rest of our meteorologists as far as, looking at the weather patterns. I know you guys are the scientists on this, Patrick, and I know it kind of strays into an area we don't always ask you about. And
Yeah,
it gets
so
a
we're
little tough, but it's but there is some science behind, what this could mean for Atlanta. Let me pop it over if I can.
Yeah, for sure. The bigger impact for us, we look at the winds, because the winds, that's the weather part of the forecast, right? And the winds are shifting. They're going to become more easterly overnight and into the day tomorrow, and that's why some of our focus for tomorrow is really going to be on that east wind bringing more of that plume into DeKalb County, Atlanta, Fulton County, more populated parts of the metro, so to speak. So right now, based off of the data that we're seeing, and we're basically looking at the EPA, a lot of that data is indicating that these chlorine levels will not be in a dangerous territory. So you're gonna smell it because the scientific term for it, I forget, but chlorine is one of those chemicals that it does not take a high concentration of it for you to smell it and know it's there. So just because you smell it doesn't mean it's a crazy dose of it. And that makes sense, stands to reason, think about it. I know that bleach isn't just chlorine, but if you think about bleach, you put a little bit in a little cap and you can smell it across the room, so it doesn't have to be a high concentration or a high dangerous amount for you to smell it. Our whole conversation to everyone really based off of what we're being communicated via the EPA, the National Weather Service, which once again, the National Weather Service, we're looking at the winds. That's what meteorologists do. We look at the air, how the atmosphere reacts. We know that that's going to shift our way, but based off of what the EPA is telling us, the levels will not be in a dangerous dosage.
Well, and they were saying something similar on Monday. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I know when I was actually here in the city with one of my boys, and we were outside, and everyone was saying, "What's that smell?" I said, "That's the fire from this past weekend."
Yeah.
And you could just smell. It felt like you were kind of in an indoor pool, and you just couldn't escape it.
Right.
But I think a lot of people were concerned about what does this mean from
and
from taking in,
And typically, you see an inversion that happens, especially this time of year. Yeah, you see these inversions that happen at night. And an inversion essentially is just basically, in theory, air should get cooler the higher that you go up, right? Well, sometimes there's a warm layer with a cool layer beneath it, and essentially that cool layer gets trapped. The cool air does not rise, it's trapped underneath that warm layer. And whenever you have that inversion and then you have substances that are present in the atmosphere, that gets trapped near the surface. So you see it go up in the sky, but it only goes up so high, so to speak.
So, and I don't mean to press you on this, maybe we don't know, but what they're saying in the morning. So, what time of day and how long do you think?
So
Or
it's
what kind of warning are you
typically
guys hearing on that?
after sunset through mid morning. So anytime after sunset, you can see that inversion starting to take place, and by the time you get heating of the day, you get to the mid morning part of the day, you start to see that inversion no longer be a thing. So once you get to the mid part of the morning, the air starts to mix a whole lot more, so you don't get that much of a smell of that.
Okay.
But
Well, I'll let you take it over here.
Yeah.
Appreciate the insight on all that and being our in-house resident scientist.
I don't mind. Yeah, I do not mind. Good evening, everyone. Oh wait, sorry, Blair's leaving. I'm here. Good evening. I hope you all are having a solid Wednesday night. We've made it to Hump Day. It's Wind Down Wednesday, and y'all know what my motto is for Wind Down Wednesday. Let me get YouTube up so I can see you all. Good evening, Arthur. Hello, some dead press. Good evening, Dustin. A lot of folks joining us on the stream this evening. We hope that you're in good spirits, and we hope that you're doing okay. We've had a kind of the month of September was a beast, and we're moving into October, and hopefully we're moving just into a better space as far as news and, of course, weather. And if there's any good news in the forecast, there's a whole lot of niceness coming down the pipeline. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of fall, and we do have basically some very fall-like temperatures that are going to be coming our way as we head through the next few days. Let's dive into it. I always say that I'm going to keep you here for a good time, not a long time, so we're going to flow through this forecast. It feels amazing outside. I actually just left from out there a few minutes ago because I just wanted to go and soak up some of this good weather. Temperatures in the 70s for most folks. We're a little bit warmer here in Atlanta. That's always the case. We're the urban heat island, hovering near 80 degrees. Some dead press said that they thought that it was a wobbly Wednesday. No, wobbly Wednesday. No, not at all. I don't have my glasses on me. I am a big proponent of wind down Wednesday. With weather like this, you could go either way. I'm a red guy, so I'm like a Tempranillo, Malbec type of dude, Sangiovese type of guy, but do what you need to do to celebrate wind down Wednesday. Good evening, Unique Tucker joining us on the stream. Dustin asking how we are. All is well here. Feeling pretty good. This forecast makes me happy, so no worries there. Austin is checking in from Henry County, asking when are we going to get some cold temperatures. Define cold, because everybody's version of cold is different. To me, cold for me personally is afternoon highs in the 30s, morning temperatures in the teens. I moved here from Baltimore, so that's what cold is for me. 3 years of being there, that's what cold is. But we do have some cooler numbers, and we'll dive into that in just a second, Austin. And Arthur is laughing at us. What's going on, man? Let's get you through the next few hours. It's going to feel nice. Temperatures are going to fall to the low to mid 60s, mostly clear skies overnight. In a nutshell, it's going to feel like it felt this morning when you step outside. Just a little bit clearer. Once again, the only difference will be the potential for there to be some of that plume in the area. Not dangerous. The levels that the Environmental Protection Agency are telling us that we're going to see, those measurements will be lower than what they were earlier this week for folks, and they're not going to be life-threatening. If that changes, we'll push that out on our apps. If you've been following this story all week, you've seen how things have kind of fluctuated based off of their readings that they've seen in the atmosphere. No doubt they'll be on top of that, and our newsroom will be on top of getting that information to you if need be. Rain chances, not really worth talking about. No first alert weather days. Some spotty showers possible Friday, but it's going to be real hit or miss. This model is trying to pick up on some rain tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. So a lot of sunshine for the Thursday forecast. Temperatures are going to be in the lower 80s. There are going to be some clouds hanging around in the afternoon. I think that'll help keep us near 83 degrees for the bulk of the day. Temperatures trend cooler heading into the evening. Tomorrow's going to be a great night for date night, for a bike ride, for a walk, for a run, all of that good stuff. Heading into Friday, we see a few more clouds, and there is a boundary that's going to push through the area, and that's where we get that 20% chance of a spotty shower. You can see that on First Alert Futurecast. There's just not a lot here. A couple of spots of green here or there, but nothing that's overwhelming. No rain chance that's really worth canceling any plans. I know that I am going to have plans for before work and after work, and you should too. Temperatures are going to be a little bit milder through the overnight because we'll keep some of those clouds around. Then our attention focuses to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I know a lot of folks have been talking about this area of low pressure that is very broad in the Gulf of Mexico. It's very, very broad. It's not organized. But there's still a 40% chance that we could get some development, and it actually looks like that chance may have gone down just about 5 minutes ago. So that kind of is in line with what I was about to say. I'm not terribly concerned about this just because a lot of the guidance just shows this is just being a blob of moisture, a very, very broad area of low pressure that'll bring some rain to portions of Florida and portions of South Georgia. Admittedly, those folks, they're in the middle of cleaning up. There's still tons. There's literally thousands, tens of thousands of people in South Georgia, probably close to hundreds of thousands whenever you combine that whole region, that are without power. So rain is the last thing you need during the cleanup process. But whenever you compare rain to another potential tropical event, we're going to roll with the rain, especially being that it does look like the axis of heaviest rain will be like Miami area, like South Florida, not North Florida that's still in the cleanup process. So in other words, this is trending in the best case scenario for folks. This isn't going to be a big deal. We'll keep our eye on it because, you know, the tropics can have a mind of its own, but based off of the guidance and the data that we're seeing, this low is just not organizing. It hasn't organized over the last couple of days, and the timeline for it to organize is just not there going forward. So I think that that's going to be the big story. Heading into the weekend, make your plans. Don't stay home. There's a lot going on. There's a couple of festivals that are in town. There's a couple of races. There's a couple of 5Ks. Get out into the streets. You know, we've had a crazy September. This weekend's going to be a nice gift for us. So let's get out and do that. Some Dead Prez is talking about a lot of starships over Israel. Yeah, I saw some of that earlier. I'll be honest with you, I'm the meteorologist, so other than seeing the stuff that's been happening the last 36 hours as far as Israel and Iran, I've seen it, but I'm gonna stick to my expertise where my degrees come from, and they come from meteorology, and physics and science. So we're gonna stick to that. So let's roll. 7-day forecast looks nice. Austin in the comments it was asking earlier, when could we see some cold air? I'm not going to call this cold, but this is going to be pleasantly cool. I was teasing it earlier in the newscast as hoodie season. Hoodie season is coming in with a vengeance early next week. Check out that number in between Monday and Tuesday. That's going to be the Tuesday morning temperature, 59 degrees. That is our morning low. So if you've seen the maps that we show you, Atlanta's typically the warmest spot. That's in the morning and in the afternoon. We get the high. We typically have one of the warmest highs and the coolest lows, or warmest lows. 59 is going to be where we are for the start of the day in Atlanta. That means that suburbs, Marietta, we're talking mid-50s. We're talking about low 50s in the North Georgia mountains. I won't be surprised if I see a 49 somewhere near Blairsville next Tuesday, or specifically Wednesday morning. But these mornings are going to be a little bit cooler. It's going to be nice. It's going to be 50s. And then the afternoons are going to be in the mid to upper 70s. This is whenever people ask, Patrick, what's your favorite season? This is my favorite season. It's not cold in the morning, nice and chilly, but it's just comfy, good chilly. And then the afternoons, not hot, just pleasantly warm. I can walk around, I can go for a run. Even if the sun is blaring in my face, it just feels nice. Green light. I do want to take you back into the tropics one more time, and then I'll let you go. I know that it's Wednesday and y'all have places to go, people to see, and things to do. We are keeping an eye on Hurricane Kirk. It has intensified today as forecast. It's a Cat 1 storm still, but winds are up to 90 miles per hour. The forecast is for this to continue to intensify. This is going to become a major hurricane, and more than likely it's going to end up being a Category 4 hurricane. This is what we call a fish storm, which basically just means it's going to impact shipping, boats and stuff out there, but pretty much the only real impacts are going to be to fish. It's going to be to the east of Bermuda, it's going to curve up to the north, and once it gets to higher latitudes, it's going to run into some colder waters and then eventually start to weaken. But it should intensify over the course of the next few days, and if you see stuff on the internet, because a lot of times people like to bait y'all into clicking on the stuff, Cat 4 Hurricane Kirk, just know that if someone's talking about Kirk is not impacting anybody. Calm your nerves. Don't let your heart start to. We don't need any of that. Kirk is just not going to impact you. We are keeping an eye on another system to the south and east of that. That is going to be Tropical Depression 13. That was named today. That is looking a little shabby, but there's a lot of convection with it, and it's in a favorable environment. So we do actually expect for this to become a tropical storm. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Leslie is the next name on the list. I apologize. That's the only way I can remember all of the hurricane names. Don't act like y'all don't say y'all alphabet. Leslie is the next name on the list, so more than likely this will become Leslie over the course of the next 24 to 36 hours. Leslie is forecast to become a hurricane as well, and then curve off towards the north. So while it does appear on this trajectory, this will have no impacts to us. We'll have to keep an eye on it to see if it does have impacts to any land. All righty. We have made it to the end of this stream. I'm going to back and give you 50 feet of the 7-day forecast. Jordan, do you think that was funny? No? That's my digital producer. I was just seeing if he was listening to me, if he was laughing at me. He wasn't. I said, I'm going to back to the 7-day, give you 50 feet. Am I that old? Back. Give me 50 feet. I guess I'm old. Okay, we're going to let that ride. All right, so here's the 7-day forecast, y'all. Like I said, pretty quiet weather for us the next few days, which is great news. We have a low-end rain chance on Friday, and then, of course, we're keeping an eye on the tropics. We will have an update coming up within the next few minutes on not only the low in the Gulf of Mexico, but on these two tropical systems. The National Hurricane Center will give us an update, and we'll be bringing you those new numbers during the late-night newscast. So that's on Peachtree TV at 10. And Atlanta News First at 11. Y'all have a fantastic evening, and I will see y'all again at 8 o'clock. Well, actually, I'll see you on the news in about an hour and a half.